you download the KBLA 1580 app and hear that richness, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. But don't take my word for it. Download the KBLA 1580 app right now. I'm Tavis Smiley, and I approve this message.
This is a world premiere. This is a world premiere.
I've been through a whole lot. Trial, tribulation, but I know God. Satan wanna put me in a bow tie. Pray that the holy water don't go dry, yeah. As I look around me, so many wanna down me, but ain't no me gon' never drown me. In front of a dirty double mirror, they found me, and I love myself. The world is a ghetto, big guns and dick inside. I love myself.
Tonight's the big night. Kamala Harris, the Donald Trump on stage in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. But you ain't getting none of that on stage tonight. There'll be no brotherly love or sisterly affection between the two of them. They're going to go at it tonight in Philadelphia, and I can't wait. On the B side of this hour, speaking of Philadelphia, we'll check in with our White House correspondent, Nee Quarterly-Corte, who is in Philadelphia right now covering tonight's debate for us. And so we'll check in with Nee Quarterly on the back side of this hour. But as promised, we commence this final hour today, in conversation with Dr. Amina Kothari, the new dean of the Gwen Ifill School of Media Humanities and Social Sciences at Simmons College in Boston. We will talk in this half hour about her work and vision for tomorrow's media stars, and of course, we will commence right now, remembering the towering black female journalist Gwen Ifill, who did some debate moderating herself back in the day. There's a black woman co-moderating tonight's big debate on ABC. Her name is Lindsay Davis. I know her from Indiana. I just had on Linda Clemens, also from Indiana. It's a big Indiana day. We talked to, I didn't talk to him, but did a tribute earlier today to James Earl Jones. We played some of my conversation with him from 2012, as I recall, and he and I were talking in that conversation that we brought to you today about Indiana and a character he was playing in Gore Vidal's The Best Man. So the state of Indiana is getting some love today on this program. So Lindsay Davis, I know from back in Indiana, but she's done quite well at ABC, and she's co-moderating with David Muir, the host of the news program every night on ABC. The two of them are co-moderating this debate tonight, so we will see how they acquit themselves as moderators of the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. But I mentioned Gwen Ifill, who did a lot of debate moderating herself. I knew Gwen well. We were colleagues for many years together at PBS, and so we spent some good time together over the years, and I'm just thrilled to have the dean of the school that bears her name, Dr. Amina Kothari. Dr. Kothari, good to have you on. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Tavis. It's an honor. Thank you for having me on the show today.
My great honor. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly, Kothari?
Yes, you are. And there's another Indiana connection. I went to IU, too, for my PhD. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not. You can't make this up.
Day today.
It is an IU day today. I went to IU. She went to IU. You cannot make this stuff up. That is hilarious. I did not realize that, but it's a great honor to be talking to you.
Yeah, go Hoosiers.
There you go. Yeah. Go Hoosiers. A great honor to be talking to you. Let me just start with this. Tell me about your role as the dean of a school that bears the name of Gwen Ifill.
Yes. So I just started my position. It's been a month and few days, and it's an exciting opportunity. And I think first it's an honor to be leading a school named after Gwen. She was someone that I looked up to and watched on television when I was studying journalism. So fast forward all these years later to actually be leading a school which has been reimagined. So as you mentioned in your intro, we have media, we have humanities, and social sciences, all three things together that were very important for Gwen when she was here as a student, right? So to be a successful and a good journalist, you need the journalism training, but you also need a deep understanding of humanities and the social sciences skills as well to be able to do your job well. So my role and what we are thinking as a school is to prepare the next generation of leaders to go in a world where where students have to navigate what I describe as now a knowledge economy, right? So they can't be just an expert in one major or one area. they have to have a solid foundation in humanities and social sciences, as well as understanding in media, whether it's communication skills, because we all need to be effective communicators. And Simmons University prides itself on creating leaders, who are able to navigate the emerging, knowledge economies effectively, but also people who are going to be able to work on interdisciplinary teams, have contributions that they can make in society, and also take leadership as well. So that's why these three, sort of unique areas have come together. And what was exciting for me to take this role, particularly a school named after Gwen, at a time when, women's rights are under attack, not around the world. Simmons University is committed to building an inclusive community to equip our students to serve in an increasingly diverse world and provide them with a safe and a non-discriminatory educational environment, right?
Yeah.
So we are committed to not only providing them an education that's going to help them succeed, but also accelerating pathways for meaningful careers, have a space for them to explore different ideas. And I think one of the things that's unique about Eiffel School is that, and I don't know if you've been to campus, Tavis.
I have not.
Visit.
I will come visit, yes.
You should come visit. So, yes, definitely. I'll follow up after this call. I would love to have you be on campus. But, you cannot walk down the corridor without looking at, we have the archive, Gwen's archive. So there are quotes about her. We have interactive displays where students can learn about her work and her, her vision on how she approached storytelling and journalism.
No, she was,
which is very inspiring.
No, she was an amazing woman. Trust me, I had a chance to work with her again for a number of years together on public television. So I know her and know her work so well. When we come forward, I want to come to this notion of knowledge economy. I think I know what you mean by this, but I think it's a powerful phrase, and it is different now than it was 50 years ago, even when Gwen was doing her thing. So we'll talk about this knowledge economy and a great deal more with Dr. Amina Kothari, who is the dean of the Gwen Eiffel School at Simmons University in Boston. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley. Tavis Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed. Our guest is Dr. Amina Kothari. She is the dean of the Gwen Ifill School of Media, Humanities, and Social Sciences at Simmons University in Boston. Pleased to have her on, and the timing couldn't be more propitious. In case you've just tuned in, I mentioned earlier, for those who've been around for a while, that we saw Gwen Ifill moderate a number of debates during her brilliant career. Died too soon, but we recall and remember her today as Kamala Harris and Donald Trump prepare to take the stage tonight in Philadelphia for a debate that will be co-moderated by another Black woman named Lindsay Davis of ABC. So didn't want this day to go by without giving some love to Gwen Ifill, and so the timing of this conversation could not be better. You mentioned earlier this knowledge economy. Let me tell you why that phrase jumped out at me. I don't want to get you in any trouble, Dean Kothari. So let me just do this myself. You mentioned that term, use that phrase, knowledge economy, and it grabbed me in part because I was just in conversation the other day with some friends of mine, including Bill Maher of HBO, who opines on this all the time, to the chagrin of some people. But he always talks about the dumbing down of our demos. And we were in dialogue about this the other night, a group of us, and I think Bill is right about this. There are any number of indicators one could look at that suggest that our demos is not as sharp as it ought to be. We literally just had a conversation about the 3 reasons that most people who don't vote. Lack of information, lack of trust, lack of motivation. Those are the 3 primary reasons that most of us who don't vote. No information, we don't trust the process, and we are not motivated enough to actually get out to vote, whether it's voting by mail or voting in person. So we've got some issues in this democracy. We are 31 of the industrialized nations around the world, 31. Number 31 with regard to turnout in our elections. That's a damning indictment of this so-called democracy, that we are that low on the list of people who actually turn out to vote in elections. I digress on that for now, but I'm trying to juxtapose this notion of a demos that is not as sharp as it ought to be, as not as involved as it ought to be, is not as aware as it ought to be, with your use of the term knowledge economy for the environment that your students eventually are going to inhabit. If any of that makes sense, opine on it as you will.
Yes, and I think that's actually a good connection, right? And I think it also is connected to sort of not decline, but the challenges that the public journalism is having as well, right? So there is also a reduction in media trust. So the way I define it from the education perspective, what it means is that, having the intellectual, capability, also skills to be innovative, and application of the knowledge in the right place at the right time, right? And by that, it can be as simple as, if you are using AI tools, right? That's an area that, I research in now. Knowing the right prompt to get the information you want, but also being able to have enough expertise that you can tell the difference between factual information or accurate information and information that's been made up, right? So those are the skills that the students are going to need, because a lot of things historically we relied on people to manually do are no longer being done. So yes, in some ways, we can use this terminology to say there is so much information that people are overwhelmed to the point that they are disengaging, which is true at some point, because it's becoming harder for people to decipher, what is real, what isn't, and just having so much information. It's like, well, do I want to process any of it? But then also not knowing if their participation or even consumption of information and sharing of opinion makes an impact as well, right? So there's almost a problem of abundance where there are so many ways you can share your opinion, whether you're putting it on social media or people asking you to respond to surveys. So there is that part as well. But ultimately, as humans, we rely on information to make decisions. So we still need people who are making informed decisions and creating new information that's also relevant to the audiences that they are creating that for. So that's why I think it's important for a school like when Eiffel School of Media, Humanities, and Social Sciences, because it's not enough to just be trained in one area anymore. You need to have a broad-based understanding, so you can actually apply that knowledge, but also have the skills to be able to learn new knowledge as the technology continues to change how we do things.
I want to come back to the technology, AI specifically, that you referenced a moment ago.
Okay.
I'll come back to that in a second. Before I do that, though, I want to just interrogate briefly your comment about the challenges that public affairs journalism is having right now. That's pretty clear to me. But what's your sense of the future of public affairs journalism?
So I think the challenges are in front of us. I mean, we can see them right now, but I think also the technology is providing some opportunities. And on some level, there is a scarcity in local journalism, which is really affecting how people get information about what's happening in the communities, or even how policies that are proposed at the national level are going to apply to them. But I think if we move away from the traditional ways of doing journalism, and I think we are doing it already, some of the technological advances can help us have scrappier, news organizations where you are actually working with some of the AI tools to expedite some of your news gathering information, but still have people in the community covering community-level issues and provide the local journalism. So I think there are opportunities, but it would require us to rethink some of the ways that we fund journalism, because the way things are currently clearly is not working.
So to AI that you referenced a couple of times now, give me your read as the dean of a media school, again, one that bears the name of my former colleague, Gwen Eiffel. Give me your sense of AI and whether it ultimately is going to be helpful or not so helpful in terms of curating news stories with data that people can, in fact, trust.
So the way I think about AI tools, and I use the tools purposefully because it's just one tool. It cannot replace, because ultimately journalism is about people, and we need humans to actually tell those stories. So we still need human oversight. I've done some research, looking at the text that's generated by ChatGPT, GPT-3 and 2. Also, done a lot of interviews with journalists in the U.S. and in the U.K. as well. And one thing is clear, right? People, whether it's an audience, but also people who go into journalism, they value the storytelling aspect, which actually comes from human to human, conversations and identifying what's important. But given the economic realities that we have right now, there are some ways where you can expedite, some of the production costs associated with creating multimedia packages, which is what the audiences expect now. You can use AI tools to customize how information is being presented. So there are ways you can use it, but I think my hope is, and this is, again, something that my research has shown, is that AI is not going to replace it. It's not a replacement for human, storytelling, but I think there's a way to use these tools to help support some of the work and actually make journalism more accessible as well. And I've seen that in some other countries where you can use some of these tools to translate in different languages, add captions, but also turn, video stories and write up, short news briefs out of that. So there are ways to make journalism more accessible, but I don't think it would replace it, or I hope at least that it wouldn't.
Yeah. Let me ask this question. My time is getting away from me here. The attacks that we see happening so frequently on the media writ large. Politicians and others. Donald Trump's on stage tonight. He's attacked ABC relentlessly, and this debate tonight is on ABC. It's not just ABC, and he's not the only person. All kinds of folk on the right and other places politically it's become a cottage industry. It's become the thing. To use some pretty salty language and attack the media and those who bring us the news. How are you reading that? I mean, as a student, I'm not sure I'd want to go into a profession where I'm going to be attacked day in and day out. But how are you reading all these attacks on those of us who are in this business?
I think it's very discouraging, and I think it's actually also helped deter some people from going into journalism, right? But I think, and now that I am the dean of a school named after Gwen, I often think about what would Gwen say at this point. And I think, I just want to read one of the, quotes that I think she was known for saying, that, if we are only talking to people who agree with us, we are failing in some ways to understand our world and our country. Mm-hmm. So I think there can be a better dialogue across, partisan lines. But so this is what I tell students as well who want to do journalism, but are also worried about how, the media, our journalists are being treated today. That if that's you see the value in doing this work, and it's not easy, and on so many levels, right? Journalists don't get paid enough, but also all these challenges which make it difficult for them to do their work. It's an opportunity to also make a difference, and I would encourage them to at least give it a shot, because I think as a storyteller, and hopefully you can appreciate this, we also want to think about what do these attacks, what is the purpose, and where are they coming from, and what is it doing to the media? I think on some level it's undermining the credibility, right? Because if you have prominent people sort of calling, an institution that's supposed to be independent and providing information for us as not being reliable, it's doing that. But how can the media respond? So I guess what I would actually do is, you as a journalist, what is your response to this? And I'm sure you're getting some of those attacks too.
Yep, it happens. If I had more time, I'd answer that. I'd answer that right now. I'm out of time because I want to close and give the audience just a taste of the sound of the voice of Gwen Ifill at the outset, the onset of one of these debates. But let me very quickly thank Dr. Amina Kothari, Dean Amina Kothari, who is the dean of the Gwen Ifill School of Media, Humanities, and Social Sciences at Simmons University in Boston. Congrats on the role. Thank you for this conversation. We'll do it again somewhere down the road, but all the best to you.
Absolutely.
This is the voice of Gwen Ifill. As I mentioned, Lindsay Davis, a sister, will co-moderate tonight's debate, but before there was Lindsay Davis, there was Gwen Ifill, and these are her opening remarks from the first and only 2008 vice presidential debate. Listen now to the voice of Gwen Ifill.
Good evening from Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm Gwen Ifill of the NewsHour and Washington Week on PBS. Welcome to the first and the only 2008 vice presidential debate between the Republican nominee, Governor Sarah Palin of Alaska, and the Democratic nominee, Joe Biden of Delaware. The Commission on Presidential Debates is the sponsor of this event and the 2 remaining presidential debates. Tonight's discussion will cover a wide range of topics, including domestic and foreign policy matters. It will be divided roughly into 5-minute segments. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to a direct question and then an additional 2 minutes for rebuttal and follow-up. The order has been determined by a coin toss. The specific subjects and questions were chosen by me and have not been shared or cleared with anyone on the campaigns or on the commission. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain very polite. No cheers, applause, no untoward outbursts, except right at this minute now as we welcome Governor Palin and Senator Biden.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill will hear testimony today from former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo related to his administration's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. They're following up on an independent report by an outside consulting firm. The trial involving the U.S. Department of Justice's antitrust allegations against Google got underway Monday in Virginia. Prosecutors say the Alphabet company's online ad technology prevents smaller companies from competing. The Miami Dolphins say they're saddened by what they call overly aggressive and violent conduct of Miami-Dade police officers. The team released a statement yesterday after the department released body cam video of a traffic stop involving African-American wide receiver Tyreek Hill. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Every business faces challenges, but shipping shouldn't be one of them. Turn shipping to your advantage with USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Disappointing news for the Rams. They had to put wide receiver Puka Nacua on injured reserve with a sprained right knee. Nacua, a Pro Bowl selection last season as a rookie, was hurt in the second quarter of the Rams' loss to Detroit Sunday night. Nacua will miss at least 4 games. Congrats to Chargers safety Derwin James. His 7 tackles Sunday against the Raiders gave him 500 career tackles. The 6 black head coaches in the NFL were 4-2 in Week 1. The winners, New England's Gerard Mayo, Pittsburgh's Mike Tomlin, Houston's D'Amico Ryan, and Tampa Bay's Todd Bowles. Atlanta's Raheem Morris and Antonio Pierce of the Raiders will try to get their first win next Sunday. Top 5 college football teams in this week's AP Top 25 poll: Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, and Mississippi. USC is 11th. The Dodgers were pounded 10-4 by the Chicago Cubs. 5 Dodgers pitchers gave up a combined 16 hits. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
As humans, we like having options. One option you might like is speaking with a real person when you call about your credit card. With 24/7 live US-based customer service from Discover, everyone can talk to a real person anytime, day or night. Limitations apply. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
All right, we close today's program with one last conversation about tonight's big debate in Philadelphia. In case you haven't heard, Kamala Harris is debating Donald Trump tonight in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. As I said earlier, ain't going to be none of that. No sisterly affection, no brotherly love in this debate tonight. But we check in now in this last half hour with my colleague, my friend, my brother, Dr. Nicolai Corte, who is the national political affairs analyst for my home station here in L.A., KBLA Talk 1580. He is the White House correspondent for this station as well, and he is also the host of his own program on this station weekdays called A More Perfect Union. He has literally just pulled into Philadelphia on the Acela. I love the Acela. For those back east, you know what I'm talking about. For those on the West Coast that don't know anything about the East Coast, if you are traveling between New York or Philly or in Baltimore and D.C., it is so much easier just to jump on the Acela, and that's what Nicolai Corte did from D.C. over to Philadelphia. Are you there yet, sir?
pulling in to brotherly love and sisterly affection. We'll see how much love we see on the debate stage tonight for VP Harris duking it out with former President Trump.
Yeah, I suspect there won't be much love lost between the two of them. But as a person covering one of the many people, of course, covering this tonight, what are you looking for? We've had all kinds of conversations today about body language. Talked to an amazing expert, Linda Clemens, talked to other journalists today. So throughout this 3-hour program, we've had a number of opinions being expressed about tonight and what to expect or not to expect. But you are in Philadelphia for us covering this debate tonight. What are you looking for?
Well, I think this is such a marker in history, Tavis. In doing it in Philadelphia, the cradle of our Constitution, the cradle of our democracy, I think we can expect to see a striking contrast between the past and the future. And I think America's at a crossroads, and I think, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump offer Americans a clear picture in what the path forward looks like, if it's a path forward at all. And so I think there's a reason why there's so much interest in this debate. A lot of folks suspect this may be one of the most watched debates, certainly in the history of our country. And I'm not surprised by that. There's a lot on the minds of our fellow Americans, economic anxiety, folks worried about the advent of AI. What does that mean in terms of their jobs and their families? I think people are also thinking very deeply about the tone that they'll see on this stage and whether or not it will match with the uptick in hate crimes, the uptick in the political vitriol that we've seen in this country, right? So people have been feeling, the effect of the MAGA movement. And the question is, are people ready to turn the page? I think that is a very important, mark for Vice President Harris to meet. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking for that.
It's going to be fascinating tonight to watch the contrast between the two of them. They don't, not only do they look different, he's a male, she's a female, he's white, she's black. You got all these contrasts just to begin with, no question about that. And you got two moderators tonight, one black and one white. That's ironic. David Muir, a white male, host of ABC World News Tonight. Lindsay Davis, an African-American journalist on the ABC network. So you got black and white all over the place tonight. I digress on that for now. But Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have their styles are different. We talked earlier about his brooding and that dark demeanor, that dark look on his face, his eyebrows always furrowed, as compared to her joyful presentation, the smile, the laugh, the giggle. So they're very different in their styles. It's not just their policies that are different, but their styles are different. What's your sense of that and the impact that might have just optically, that they look different and their styles are different, and you're going to see that side by side, the contrast I referenced earlier today in our show, John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. JFK won that debate in part because of the way it looked optically. What's your sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you bring up a really important point, the optics of this. A lot of folks will be paying extra close attention to the optics of this. Vice President Kamala Harris, a career prosecutor, right? And so that prosecutorial style, it's not hard for her to slip into that. And then, of course, the former president, 34 times convicted and counting, let some people tell it. And so you can't look at the two of them on stage and not be reminded of that. Of their involvement with the criminal justice system. And so I think that's going to be on the minds of people. I think a lot of folks are also going to be paying close attention to personal attacks, right? And how does Vice President Harris handle those inevitable personal attacks we'll see from the former president? How does she handle those? And whether or not the former president gets to be too gratuitous with those personal attacks to the point where it pulls focus from his opportunity to rule over, some of those moderate Republicans that have defected. Remember, Nikki Haley voters, have migrated over to Kamala Harris. If he has any chance of bringing any of them back, he may want to ease up on the personal attack.
Yep. Who do you think wins the battle? Because this ultimately what matters is in large measure, I think, what matters. One of our guests earlier today, Jeff Jarvis, as I recall in our very first hour, talked about the fact that what may be more important than the debate itself is the media reaction to the debate. How does the media frame this? How does the media spin this? We'll come back to that a little bit later in this conversation before I lose you at the top of the hour. But my question right now is, who do you think wins the battle of getting off the best zingers, the best one-liners? Because that's what's going to trend on TikTok, that you got that thing out and you did it in such a way that it resonated, it was pithy, it didn't take you 2 minutes to say it. Who wins the zinger TikTok battle tomorrow, born of this debate tonight?
Well, Tavis, I think they're both going to get some licks in. I think they're both going to be winners in their own universe of supporters. Remember, the format of this debate is pretty much the same format as the last debate with President Biden and former President Trump, which in my view really lends itself to more social media fodder. And I think it really puts the audience at a disadvantage in terms of, really being able to, watch the candidates perform over an extended period of time related to fewer topics. And so I think that the way this debate is laid out, it will lend itself to more of those social media moments for both sides.
When we come forward, I'm going to ask DeQuartalacorte where he will actually be tonight. I want to just paint an illustration for you, a picture for you of how this stage is laid out and where he will be relative to the stage. I'm so honored that we have our own White House correspondent who is in fact in Philadelphia tonight for this debate. We'll continue our dialogue with Dr. DeQuartalacorte on Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
So you may have heard of Project 2025, a plan crafted by Trump and his MAGA loyalists to give Trump virtually unchecked political power and take Black America backwards. Here's how. Project 2025 strips away our voting rights protections, and it eliminates the Department of Education. It would siphon public school funding to private schools, leaving our kids behind. Planning on going to college? Good luck paying for it. Project 2025 cuts funding for federal student loans. Trump's Project 2025 would also make states monitor women's pregnancies, and it bans abortion. Project 2025 would also gut Obamacare, ripping away health care from millions. Simply put, Trump's Project 2025 would be devastating to Black America. But we can stop it by voting for Kamala Harris for president, because we are not going back.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for president.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit LAFLA.org. LAFLA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The LA Civil Rights Department and its Reparations Advisory Commission want to hear your reparations ideas. Join them at one of 3 working groups on September 10th, 12th, and 14th. Space is limited. To register, call 213-978-1845 or email lacr@reparations@lacity.org today. That's LACR-reparations with an S at lacity.com. Be part of this monumental movement.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Dr. Corte, our White House correspondent, our national political affairs analyst, and the host of his own program on my home station in L.A., A More Perfect Union, weekdays. He is in Philadelphia for tonight's big debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and I'm pleased to have him on the line trying to handicap this thing in advance. So, Corte, you will recall, because you were there, you recall that when Joe Biden and Donald Trump met for the debate that pretty much tanked Joe Biden's campaign, and eventually the baton gets passed to Kamala Harris, which makes this historic evening possible. But all of this starts downhill for Joe Biden after that debate with Donald Trump. You recall at that debate, or in advance of it, there was all this brouhaha in Black America, led in part, as I recall, by Roland Martin and a few others, who were complaining about the fact that Black media had not been invited to cover that particular debate, which kind of struck me as fascinating and interesting because my guy from my station, Corte, was there, and we talked to you live from that debate. And so here you are again tonight in Philadelphia covering this debate. Is there a similar brouhaha this time around about Black media not being invited to cover this debate?
So Tavis, that certainly has not been my experience. I certainly thought it was a pretty seamless process. Once I was connected to the appropriate people over at ABC News who are in charge of this debate, it's been a seamless process, and me and my team have been properly credentialed, and we are here to be the eyes and ears for our leaders, learners, and listeners, and really contribute to the public discourse. I mean, we'll have an opportunity to be stationed in the spin room, and we have a chance to talk to anybody who wants to talk to us and, share their hot takes on tonight and insights that are important to our audience because, this is a critically important election. And, Tavis, I just want to take a moment to, emphatically clear your commitment and the station's commitment, all the affiliates that you're on, their commitment to making sure that we get our communities information that they can trust. From experts on the front lines, from leaders on the front lines. That's exactly what our mission is tonight in Philadelphia.
So for those, I've done this many times in my career, of course, and you are doing it yourself and doing it quite well these days. But how would you describe, I have my own take on it, but how would you describe what it's like being in the spin room after one of these major debates? What's it like for you being in the spin room?
Oh, my goodness. Tavis, it's like political Super Bowl. It is a who's who of some of the biggest names in politics, some of the biggest names that we see day in and day out on TV, delivering their expert analysis and their hot takes. It's elected officials, it's appointed officials. It's political campaign hacks and operatives. It's all of the above. And just to give you a sense of timing, the debate will air tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on ABC and Hulu and Disney Plus, and will be simulcast on a number of other outlets, including KBLA, our home station. But in addition, we will be in the spin room till as late as 1 o'clock in the morning. That's how long people hang around after the debate to share their points of view. And so we'll be sure to make sure that we're back tomorrow to share some of the highlights from the spin room. This is the most anticipated presidential debate, certainly in my lifetime. Yeah. And I'm proud to represent.
When we come forward in our remaining moments with Corte, I'll ask him his assessment of the way the media has covered this campaign so far. We obviously had a major shift from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris, and she, for the last 6 weeks or so, has controlled the media narrative. And Donald Trump must be being driven crazy by that. He's so used to controlling the media narrative. He's not been in control of that. We will see if he can wrestle control of that tonight from Kamala Harris, putting him out front once again as the guy that's determining what the news is covering and what they're saying and how they're saying it. But I want to get Nicolás Cortez' assessment of the media. We heard from Jeff Jarvis at the beginning of this program, his disappointment, his extreme disappointment in the way that the New York Times, the Washington Post, and other major media news outlets on television and beyond are not covering this race. They cover the horse race. They don't cover the issues. They cover the personalities, but not so much the politics. That was his assessment. We'll see what Nicolás Cortez has to say about that when we come forward in our remaining moments with him on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Nicolás Cortez, at least for the next 3 minutes before we close today's program. Nicolás Cortez is in Philadelphia for the big debate tonight between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. I closed this program, Nicolás, where we began it 3 hours ago, talking to Jeff Jarvis, longtime media critic, who just went in on the corporate media, the mainstream media, and the way they've just gone downhill covering these campaigns. It's all about personality, not about politics. It's about the horse race, not about the issues. He had his own critique, but as one of the thousands, I suspect, of media people who are going to be covering this tonight, you, of course, in the actual spin room where this is going down, what's your sense of how we have done covering this race?
I think there has been too much of an obsession in terms of the horse the horse race factor of covering any presidential race. We know that there are a number of issues that are absolutely critical to our fellow Americans. We're talking about bread and butter issues. A lot of folks wringing their hands at the dinner table, trying to figure out how to make ends meet.
Yep.
While inflation is still persistent, it's not as bad as it used to be. That's easy. That's a hard message to deliver when there are still a lot of folks that are still feeling the effects of inflation. And so, that's a needle that the vice president's going to have to thread. But, I just want to remind you and your listeners, Tavis, that's part of the reason why I wrote the book, Kamala, the Motherland, and Me. It was an opportunity to reexamine our underlying assumptions about Madam Vice President, about Africa, about ourselves. And I included in that book, as you know, a critique of, our colleagues in the media industry.
Yep.
This is an unprecedented moment. And in a lot of ways, Kamala Harris is an unprecedented candidate at an unprecedented time. And so that means we can't cover her and cover this race the same old way. It means that we need to have, more expert, Black voices and women voices and Black women voices that are a part of this coverage, part of our analysis. And short of that, I think we might be doing our fellow Americans a disservice at a time where they need our service the most.
He's our national political affairs correspondent from our hometown station in L.A. He's our White House correspondent. He is the host of his own program every day called A More Perfect Union. He is the author of Kamala, the Motherland and Me, his best-selling book about his journey with Kamala to Africa. It's an amazing book and has done quite well. If you've not picked up a copy, I highly recommend it. You will have some insights into the vice president, some insights that you might not even get tonight. But he has time to lay them out in this book. Once again, it's called Kamala, the Motherland and Me, written by our friend and brother, our guest in this half hour, Dr. Nee Corte. Have a great time tonight in Philadelphia, one of my favorite cities. Enjoy the spin room. Get you a cheesesteak while you're there, man, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Will do. Take care, Tavis.
Stay strong. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow to do it all over again, Lord willing. If you're in L.A. And listening around the country, we'll be live tonight for 90 minutes with audience response following the debate on my home station, KBLA. Many of my colleagues at other stations that carry me around the country are doing likewise. It's going to be a great night, a historic night in America. Thanks for tuning in today. Talk to you tomorrow. Until then, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica,